Hey, I'm Brian Lee White.
I'm Alex Klingel.
We are one half of the composer collective Finishing Move. We make video game music.
We're going to take you inside the process of how we created the score for Doom: The Dark Ages.
The thing that we really love about game music and game scoring in general is that it's such just a wide open field for styles. Coming from a background as just kind of like young teenage guitar players, when we got the opportunity to pitch on this, it was kind of this crazy moment because we're like, oh my God, we've been waiting for this for 20 years to be asked to pull these guitars out.
From the first concept art that we saw, it was clear this was medieval Doom. So we took a few different approaches to find the sound for this particular game. One was using these ancient folk and orchestral instruments from different cultures around the world. Another was exploring earlier styles of heavy metal. Metal's always been a part of Doom's history, and we wanted to reach back into the kind of early roots of heavy metal, thrash, Swedish black metal, a lot of different cool influences to explore. Third pillar was a gritty, organic sonic palette. We really had to find a balance with the team at id for the medieval elements and the sci-fi. So what we would do is take organic sounds, mangle them with sound design and different plugins to make it sound like a synth, aggressive, in your face. That sense of perpetual motion.
My personal first interaction with the neural stuff was the Corey Wong, which I don't think we use in this project, but I just mentioned that because it's such a cool sounding amplifier. And yeah, I feel like that was the first time when I got an amp sim as a plugin, and I was just like stoked with how the tone sounded. And that was kind of like the first time I'm like, dang dude, these guys are like tapping into something, because it actually felt good to play. You know, that was the idea. It's like you could get good tones production wise, you could kind of get something that like sat in the mix, sounded good, sounded like an amp, but it was always like that feel that I felt like I was missing, that like the feedback in my fingers.
When you work on a project like this, it spans multiple years. As fun as a real amp and miking it up is in the real world, it's critical to have these high quality in-the-box tools. The neural plugins were invaluable in having this incredible playground of different flavors to choose from. But a year or two into the project, you have to open up an old session, make some changes, write some additional music.
Oh, so much research into just modern metal production. I mean, I feel like we always have our finger on the pulse of just modern production in general, whether it's plugins, amp simulators. All four of our skill sets is in sort of musical sound design, so just sort of designing cool sounds you've never heard. But specifically metal, you know, it's come so far, right? Since that kind of, you know, 70s, 80s kind of style, thrash stuff, and then just sort of the modern metal production technique. Thankfully, these days you can kind of like, you've got Neural putting out content on YouTube, and you got people on Instagram, and we're gonna do modern metal, but it's gonna sound kind of old school riffs, but then there's gonna be a full orchestra and a bunch of other stuff added in there. How do we make it sound super cool, not cheesy? How do we mix it, all this stuff, so it doesn't sound muddy, so it sounds clear? We really respect the genre, and so we wanted to just deep dive in, embed fully, even if it takes years, to figure out how do we treat this genre authentically, while at the same time sort of bringing our voice to it.
Is a super collaborative effort. You're working with dozens, hundreds of programmers, writers, artists, and the game is taking shape alongside the soundtrack. So in the beginning, you might only have a piece of concept art to write to. You may just have a text brief. Later on, you get gameplay. You may get to play the game early, get a sense of how it feels. It's not a linear medium like film. Think of all the different situations that your music could be put into and whether it's going to fit the overall gameplay style and the feeling that you want the player to have. We would get all these different locations of the game, different worlds, different characters, and we develop different themes based on them. And that'll be musical themes, it'll be sonic palettes. For example, something like the Cosmic Realm. Which is this Lovecraftian horror, otherworldly area of the game. It's field recordings like a shrieking bird or a roaring bear being reconstructed through granular synthesis. Generative textures that morph and take on a life of their own. Just the most otherworldly sounds you've never heard before. It sounds very, very different from something like the Holy Sing, where we've got spectromorph choirs, striking acoustic instruments, creating a tense pulse, and a wall of sound from church bells and organs and the orchestra. And then as well as character themes. We've got the sound of the Slayer. There's a real focus on making you feel like an iron tank. The demons are scared of you and not the other way around. So we want a real sense of empowerment, something that's super sinister, yet you just feel like a total badass with it. We have to explore different musical themes, different sonic palettes, which adds up to a lot of different sessions. You know, if you're writing an album that's 30 minutes, that's one thing, but you're writing multiple hours in something like a AAA video game. So session organization, session recall multiple years later. That's why these plugins, they come in so handy, so inspiring, so flexible, and you can do things that aren't possible in real life. You're just able to push it in the way the physical world can't.